Hey, what's up? It's Brian Scalabrine, the White Mamba, also 2008 world champion Boston Celtics. Now, you're listening to the Boston Big Three podcast presented by Ride the Wave Media.
Hey, Boston Big Three, episode 46, presented by Ride the Wave Media, sponsored by V1 Vodka. V1 Vodka is the only clean drinking vodka, pure and simple. I think when whoever wrote this, they meant to say plain and simple because I've never heard pure and simple. And I think Babs wrote it.
I think it's more like a pump. I think it's more of like instead of plain and simple, it's pure and simple because it's pure vodka.
See, I keep going to bring that up every single week. Never do. It's the world's only vodka made from 100% non-GMO, spelt and prized ingredients in the distillation hierarchy. From farm to glass, this is a vodka that champions drink. Like I said last week, go get hammered, sit on your couch, watch old games, which is the only thing we have going for us. Hand up. Going into the show, we have zero idea we have no topic list. Literally none. We kind of just sat down. We have an interview later coming soon. But other than that, we have nothing. But Stafford,
you want to tell them who the interview's with, Tyler?
I was literally just about to do that for you. I was going to say, Stafford, you know the kid. Tell him about the interview. What can we expect? A little background on him, all that stuff.
All right. On the interview today, we had Hoodie Dams himself, Damien Williams, outside linebacker for Saint Anslem College. We kind of dive into how Corona's affected collegiate athletics, especially football, as we go into the spring and summer months, how it affects off-season stuff, maybe how it pushes into the regular season perhaps. We talked about, more St. Anselm stuff oriented towards the end of it. It was a good interview. We thank Dame for coming on. He's a cool guy. Looks just like Mike Tyson. Will scare the shit out of you if you see him coming at you full speed in the open field. So tune into that. It'll be coming up in probably 10 minutes, 15 minutes. So good interview, and that's about it.
We also got two-time guest Jake Seymour now. Boston Sports Center 617. Give him a follow, and then Brandon. So we don't have Babs today. Babs is out there fighting Corona, having kids. He's a little occupied right now. Yeah, the Spike twins. All right, now that he's not here, let's
is this the first time it's been on the show?
No, there's no shoddy listening to this. How let's set the bar. What is Babs' dad going to be like? Or Dad Babs?
Okay, number one, he's going to milk the shit out of those twins. Just for as much content as possible. He said last time he wasn't gonna. I don't buy that for a second.
Lies.
Absolute lie. A fib. Not even close to being the truth. He's going to just market them. He's going to have them in little tiny bibs. He's going to start selling bibs. He's going to get into the baby business or something. He always has an angle.
They're going to be in those 76 Spike King jerseys within a week of being alive.
Maybe even a day. He might have them printed
day up. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, there's no blanket he sleeps with. He just gives his size, whatever a football jersey is. No matter what size you buy, it's too big for your jersey.
What are the odds he spikes the placenta or something?
Jesus Christ.
Yikes.
I'd hope low. I'd hope to God low.
I hope they're low.
I guarantee you there will be a video, like a Spike King-esque video in the hospital room. And Brandon's Eggo waffles are back on the show.
It's morning time.
Probably
it's bright
our favorite
and
guest on the show.
We love, here at Boston's Big Three, now that we're in quarantine mode, we are a morning show. We're like the morning, Good Morning America, but Good Morning Boston. We love our Eggo waffles on Boston's Big Three, and we hope Eggo loves us back. That's all you can ask for.
No shot.
Just digging for sponsorships at this point.
I mean, trust me, an Eggo waffle sponsorship would be the dream. Also, you eat waffles like a total psychopath.
Yeah, I ain't got a plate or forks right now. That's the problem I'm running into. I understand that I look like a monster right now, but you got to work with what you got.
All right, boys. Well, we're on day what? 14 now without sports, something like that. How are we feeling?
14.
Wait, before we get into this, Jake, how have you been deciding? How have you been living in quarantine life? We gotta get a little insight behind some of the Ride the Wave people.
So quarantine, I've been watching Marvel movies every night. I'm up to I didn't watch them the last couple nights, but I'm up to I think Captain America, the last one, I don't know. One of those ones. And then I've been playing a ton of like 2K and Madden because I need my sports and I miss it way too much. It's just a ton of like 2K with buddies. And the 08 championship, the Celtics, they were on last night, so sat down, watched that. Treated it just like a normal Celtics game day. Green gum, Celtic jerseys on. I don't know. It's been tough though. Like it's been a long 14 days. I keep like seeing people post like, "Oh, it's 14 days today," and I was like, "It feels like it's been like 3 months. Like it's just awful."
This
And it's
isn't
just gonna
ending
keep
anytime
going on.
soon.
Yeah.
No.
They told us
season
14
outta
days. Mm-hmm.
MLB season's done. NBA's done. Football is probably not gonna be around. It stinks. Like I literally sat down last night, just sitting there. I'm like, there's like nobody knows what's gonna happen, but everyone's gonna keep overreacting. So everything's gonna keep getting canceled. It's gonna stink for a long, long time.
That's the worst part about this. If those of you that don't know, I'm with MLB Hot Corner, so Ride the Waves baseball page, and we had so much fun content planned. I was supposed to be in Toronto right now, celebrating opening series with the Red Sox and the Blue Jays up in Canada of all places, and I'm sitting on my couch in Phoenix, Arizona. It is not Toronto here.
Do you have your roommates there, or is it just you?
None of them, just me.
For real? So one of my roommates is leaving today, and then the other one's leaving sometime next week, this week. So it's literally just gonna be me and then my girlfriend, but she lives like a mile away. But it kind of stinks. But one of the things that I found myself doing, I had no intention of ever starting this. So I have YouTube TV, like my parents do, and you get like anything there. Pretty good. This is an endorsement for you, YouTube TV. So sponsors, please. I watch it every day. And
We're
I
on
watched
YouTube.
the Harry Potter movies. Harry Potter, like I had no interest in Harry Potter growing up.
Neither have
maybe
I.
one book, but I was like, hey, may as well just bang out these. And let me tell you, I can't stop watching them. They're very good.
So does that make you a nerd now? Are you a nerd?
I would say. I might be. I'll take it though. They're good movies.
Does Harry Potter qualify as a nerd movie anymore?
Oh, absolutely.
It does?
I've never seen it.
I don't know. I feel like Star Wars and like Harry Potter have reached that point where like it's such like a normal phenomenon.
Star Wars
on the streets.
Star Wars is so cool.
Yeah, but the same thing with Harry Potter. It's on ABC Family every 5 minutes, and like every other weekend. Like, you know what I mean?
Freeform now. ABC Family.
Oh, Freeform. Yeah, I'm gonna get it copyrighted or something. Jesus.
They're dead.
Before we move on, Brandon, you are exhibiting some coronavirus symptoms.
Oh yeah. That's what like I said a few minutes ago. I've been locked in my room for the last 2 weeks. I have no idea if I've got it or not. I tried to go for a run yesterday and I just couldn't breathe. I keep muting my microphone. If you're watching the YouTube, you'll probably see me mute it and cough off camera. But it is I've got a few symptoms. I don't have the fever yet, so I'm holding out hope that I don't have it. But I'm avoiding contact with anybody and everybody.
Damn.
I mean, that's the dream.
That's
You
rough.
don't have to talk.
Hey, it's all right. Got plenty of books. I got the internet. I got cable television.
I haven't read a single book. Do you know what actually stinks though? These online classes.
Jake,
they
suck.
Jake, in high school, you have to take them still, right?
Well, they're optional and they're not being graded, so I'm not taking them. I'll kind of just chill it.
So when you're in college,
I wouldn't.
you have to do these so you can graduate on time.
Oh, yeah.
Stupid stuff. And it's like frustrating to the point that like you have so much like busy work to do and zero learning at all. But like they don't tell you all this stuff that you have to do. They just assume that like you've been keeping up with everything. And that stinks because everyone doesn't really know what they're doing. So I know a lot of people here are just like, yeah, these online classes are horrendous. Like they keep getting screwed over grades. Luckily, a lot of schools are doing like pass fail. Like we're doing pass fail now. You can choose it for as many classes as you want. I don't know. I hate it.
Are you graduating this year, Tyler?
I'm only a junior.
Oh, okay. I'm graduating.
Still got a year.
Kind of sucks.
Oh yeah. So
wait, senior year.
I actually forgot about that. Life as like an alumni now.
Honestly, I've got free rent for the next month, but then I gotta go find a job in a place.
Yeah, I still have to pay my
Shout
rent.
out Corona.
Stinks. $600 a month.
Oh.
600?
Wow.
Yeah, it's one of the cheapest options here.
Jesus.
Jeez.
I'm living in a house next year with 12 people for $500 a month.
Good
but
Lord.
like I know people who pay $1,000 a month per person.
Wait,
Like-
12? Wait, 12 people in a house.
It's a large house.
Yeah, better be a large house. Holy God.
But no, it's like there's like 4 floors. and then 3 rooms per floor. So like everyone gets their own room. So
That's a big house, though. That's an apartment complex.
Yeah,
that's like a
I'll
quarantine
take it.
zone for corona patients.
Mhm.
That's exactly what it is. There's like packing people in.
Fun fact, I don't even know what the house looks like. I just signed the papers and I walked to the front porch to see like the outside just so I know where I'm living. And then we had to go like sign more lease papers. I didn't never even step foot inside of where I'm living next year. We're just kind of hoping on it.
Gosh.
But like I know most of the people I'm living with, so I'm like, whatever. Like if you just give me a bed, an outlet, and Wi-Fi, like I'll be fine. That's exactly what I said I was gonna bring to a stranded
No
island.
bathroom needed.
Nah, we have windows.
Get out the window.
Yeah, absolutely not. All right, we're what 20 minutes in now. Should we do the interview now?
Yeah, I mean we kind of.
Yeah, why not?
We're just letting it roll today. We're just letting it roll. So here's the interview.
There's
with
not a
Damien
lot of
Williams.
topics.
Not a lot of topics to talk about as a sports show, obviously. So roll the tape. Here we go. Damien Williams. All right. So our fourth guest on Boston's Big Three, we had Ty Law. We had Gino Grissom. We had a former captain of the Patriots cheerleaders. And now we have Hoodie Dames himself, Damien Williams, football player at Saint Anslem College. Damien, tell the crowd about yourself.
I'm from Oxon Hill, Maryland. You know, I play outside linebacker for Saint Anslem College, sophomore. And I'm excited to be here. I appreciate the opportunity.
Definitely. We've been seeing your work and your grind put in the last couple of years. Me and Damien actually go to the same school. We actually lived in the same dorm all of last year before COVID-19 kicked us out. So we're just going to jump right into this interview right here. The first question that a lot of people have is, from the college perspective at least, for athletics, what have your coaches told you about the situation so far?
So far, they've been saying, you know, just stay the course and not to panic too much because, you know, it passed, you know, in certain time. They haven't gave us too much information about, you know, when we're going to come back or if we're going to have a football season. So
yeah, did they mention the possible cancellation of the whole season?
No, they haven't mentioned that yet. So we've been just going over, you know, plays and just staying the course like it is a football season coming up.
No, I get that. You know, it's a tough situation, especially for not even football, but just leagues in general. Like the NBA, you see how they're struggling right now. The MLB had to push back its opening day, the NHL as well. So it's being felt all over athletics, especially college athletics, when you see some of these seniors who had to forfeit their final season. And it's tragic to see.
Yeah.
The number one most requested question we had when you were coming up was, why do you wear a hoodie underneath your jersey? How did Hoodie Games start?
Well, for real, it's a it's a DMV, you know, DC, Maryland, Virginia type of swag for real. So, you know, I haven't seen nobody in New Hampshire wear it. So, you know, I decided, I was like, why not bring it up here? And so I guess it started catching on. And then it was this one game in particular, this Franklin Pierce game. I wore a pink hoodie because breast cancer month. So, you know, it just, you know, caught on.
Yeah, he had to brand yourself. You had to set yourself apart.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
I like that part. It's kind of like James Jones from the Packers. He kind of brought that in the limelight in the NFL a couple seasons ago, I remember.
Exactly.
And now we see it at the collegiate level. That's pretty cool. What impact has COVID-19 had on your training specifically, and how has it affected the team cohesiveness in general?
Well, particularly in my training, it was just, you know, I can't lift weights every day. So, you know, I had to find different resources, you know, different people to just get in contact with just to stay in shape. So basically, I got a friend. I just go to his weight room, you know, do stuff like that. And then most of the time I do field work, you know, just make sure I got my feet, make sure I got my endurance up. And cohesiveness, we still get in contact a lot. You know, we have team meetings through like different apps. But it hasn't been, you know, nothing strenuous for us.
Well, it's good to hear because I was really worried about that. I think a lot of teams are worried about how it would affect team chemistry, especially since you don't have spring ball, you don't have the spring game coming up, you don't have, and it might affect summer workouts too. I know you guys report really early in August to start the season off early, and it might not even be able to move in on time for normal school, never mind training camp. So it's definitely going to be an interesting situation as this continues to develop. Going off of that, we have a lot of coming freshmen coming in, a lot of highly touted, scouted guys. How does this affect the younger athletes, you know, without having a full offseason to prepare for their first season?
It really doesn't affect them in all honesty because, you know, everybody report the same time in fall. So for mostly the freshman guys, they're just, you know, they try and learn the playbook as much as they can. You know, coaches been getting in contact with them, making sure they staying up to date with their training. with the playbook and make sure everybody good. So I think everybody just gonna come in the same way as they left, basically.
Yeah, no, I understand that. It's just kind of worrisome, I think, from a coaching's perspective, when you have some of these younger guys coming in into this strange, like, unknown situation that we haven't really dealt with before in sports, really ever. Because you see just how the huge impact has really affected how teams prepare and how they're gonna try to approach the season with a different light that they haven't, explored before. The one question we got from our boss, Babs, the Spike King, what is your personal workout routine on arm day? Because I think Babs is trying to get a little bit bigger.
Well, basically, I just do, a lot of curls, a lot of benching. That's basically the whole arm workout. I mean, I don't do too much arms, in all honesty. I try to work on my legs a lot. So when I do get in my arm day, I do a lot of curls, a lot of benching, a lot of triceps, pull downs and stuff like that. Just and push-ups, of course. And that's it. I don't do too much.
That's the formula.
The more I look at this right now, I have another nickname. All right, we got Hoodie Dames. We have that branded. We have that in place. How about Mike Tyson Jr.? That's another one we're putting out there. No, for real. Like, seriously. I feel like every time you see, like, you in the open field when you're just running someone down, like, they see the fear of God in their eyes. I see people, especially, I remember one game, it was home. I forgot who it was against. I'm in the stands, and you're playing outside, but you're kind of, like, creeping towards the middle, and it's just a gut rush, and I see the running back just stop, hesitate, and just fall backwards because he knows he's going to get absolutely, like, molested at the line of scrimmage. So, no, it's just I think Mike Tyson Jr. should be a definite hashtag.
Need the tattoo before he can.
It could be.
Yeah, get a face tat.
It could be. I don't know. Everybody been saying that though. So shoot, I don't know.
I wasn't the first one to say it.
Oh no, you're not. It's like 5. Like everybody be saying that actually.
He said you ain't original.
That's what he said. God
Good
damn.
idea.
Oh my God. So I know that you've been following guys like CJ Miller throughout their college career, All-American last year. What do you have to say about CJ as a leader on that Saint Anslem team and maybe his future in football as he, maybe contemplates going pro?
First of all, that's big bro. He from the area, he from PG County just like me. So, I really just look up to him as far as, his play. And he taught me a lot as far as like learning my position personally. Personally, I don't have too much to say about his pro football career, but hopefully he does pursue it, and hopefully it works out the best for him. And I think, he's top player around the area, and he's a good dude, man. Honestly.
Yeah, no, it's impressive to see just his impact on the field, especially last season. He was just kind of unparalleled because he just was a game wrecker. He took over games. I remember one game he had, 2.5 sacks and an interception. All took place almost the same half, which is just crazy to me. I know you guys are going to turn the corner as a team. I know our freshman year you guys struggled a lot just to get that in the win column, really. And then last year you started to see you guys pick up steam. What are your expectations for the team going forward this season and into our senior season?
Hopefully, like every other team, make the playoffs, win the NE10 championship. We got a lot of dudes stepping up, as far as the freshman dudes, Luke Huffnagel, JV, Justin Villaneva. They're all stepping up and like at the linebacker position specifically. DBs, it's all competition around them. Defensive line, we got a whole bunch of dogs, just running around. Offense, personally, I feel like Air Raid, is taking over. We got a good quarterbacks, good running backs, good wide receivers, and a great old line. So, I can't even complain.
Yeah, so shout out Mike Pancakes.
Exactly.
My Boucher.
My Goose.
Yeah, there we go, Boosh. I know you obviously follow the NFL and you're from Baltimore, so you're actually a Cowboys fan. How did that actually end up happening?
My dad
I thought he was a bandwagon when I met him.
What? Crazy.
Hey, look, my dad actually a Dallas fan, so I grew up with watching Dallas, Tony Romo, Marion Barber, all of them. They've been running the league, so I was like, Dallas is America's team, so why not run for American team?
Yeah, but
best team in the nation.
It feels like you should be bandwagoning now more than ever because the Ravens are one of the best teams in the league, and you're from Maryland, so it makes a lot more sense than you think it does, doesn't it?
They've been falling off lately, man. Them playoff losses, I don't know. They've been losing like 4 straight. They lost 4 straight. Patriots, all of them. So I mean, shoot, I don't know about them.
About to
I'm a
find out.
Lamar
Facts.
fan, though. I can tell you that I'm a Lamar Jackson fan for sure, though. He a
Yeah, no,
dog. He a
he's
good dude.
electric. I'm gonna say that. Tyler, any thoughts?
How do you hear St. A's being from the DMV? Like, did they go to your games? What other schools were you kind of looking at?
Well, coming out of high school, I was looking at, Shepherd University, hometown Bowie State, Frostburg State, stuff like that. But funny story, Coach Adam, actually, it was me and another player at my school. He came in and he was just talking to us, speaking a lot about his school. So I ain't know like nothing about Manchester, New Hampshire, or the area in general. So he came in talking to us, saying they was a D2 school, and they would just love to have me because they didn't have too many dudes from the DMV area. So I wanted to be original. I wanted to be, something different. I wanted something like a new environment and just to meet new people. So I decided to come up here, and I don't regret it at all. Love the people, love the atmosphere, love the school in general. Great place.
How is it like going from the DMV to the middle of nowhere, New Hampshire? Like Manchester, New Hampshire,
Different.
not a lot of people know about it, but
Yeah, it's different, man. It's a different culture. It's like a culture shock, kind of, because, you don't see too many Caucasian people, in all honesty, like in the DMV area. So, it's way, really, really different. But I really don't regret it at all. Like I said, great people. It's something different for me, but I'm used to it now.
yeah, for sure. I mean, Brandon, anything else?
Oh, I've never actually seen you play, Dame. So is there one guy that you ever like compare your game to, or say that looks like a lot like me when I'm on the field?
I really, honestly, I don't really
Or you
see
your own
myself as.
your own animal.
Yeah, exactly. Like
Yeah.
I'm a unique player, I don't like linebackers, they're usually aggressive,
Mhm.
running down into play, attacking every time, run plays and stuff. But for me, I feel like I'm a hybrid player, I like playing the pass a lot. And then I just like staying patient, reading the play before I could attack it.
Absolutely.
Well, the
Love that.
more I watch you, the more I think Jalen Smith, your guy from Dallas.
Oh
Just
yeah,
because, like you said, the patience and the hybrid mentality where you can play the pass, but you can also, aggressively pursue the run. I know
exactly.
he plays towards the middle more. I know it's kind of a different position that you're used to, but I do think it's a comparable type of play style in terms of how his mentality towards the game.
Right.
Before we do anything else, I need to get some like real answers from you. All right, team
All right.
superlative. Who is the strongest on the team?
Will Cunningham. He's actually an Olympic lifter, so he be putting up some weight in the weight room, man. I ain't gonna lie.
Shit. All right. Best dressed.
That's dressed.
Yeah.
Chuck Elliott. Chuck, my man Chuck, he be swagging a little bit. He be doing his thing.
All right. Now this is a tough one. Craziest.
Riley Dempsey.
Shout
I ain't
out
gonna lie.
Dems.
He
That
a
was gonna be my
clown.
answer. Shout out Dems.
He is a clown, bro. Like he a unique dude. I ain't gonna.
There's an unfair
Bro.
Yeah,
Yeah, he a unique dude, bro. But he a good dude. He a real good dude.
Yeah. As the season approaches and as we get into our junior year, and we've kind of got to the point we have now where we turned the corner as a community, as a team. How do you figure this defense is going to look in fall 2020? Do you think it's going to be top 5 in the NE10?
It should be top 5. That's all we expect. Coach Adam, he expect a lot out of us. Since he's the defensive coordinator, it should be, very, very fast paced. Everybody locked in, everybody focused. But I expect us to be really top 5, especially with all the returning players coming back from the D line, the linebackers, and then the DBs. Everybody just locked in, everybody focused, everybody want to be great. The spring kind of hurt us as far as like everybody excitement because everybody was excited to come in for the spring game. Everybody was excited for spring ball, but that just made us more hungry. So hopefully we top 5 and everybody just come in ready to work.
That's what we wanted to hear. That's good to hear. If you guys don't have anything else.
Yes, that Joe mentioned earlier, like how you guys probably like lacking team chemistry because of the Zoom meetings and stuff like that. As a freshman, did you have to pay any like freshman dues to the upperclassmen? Like, walk us through a day and first day of camp or something like that. You guys not hazing, but you guys have to earn the respect of the older guys and all that.
Yeah, it was just it was kind of tough, because they were all in their own little group. So we had to learn just to fit in where we fit in. So, just learning. Like, mostly for me, my freshman year, I'll hang out more with the DMV dudes, like, because, I knew them already. So, just basically, I had to, just talk to everybody, get to know everybody like I was just, a new person. So basically, after I learned everybody, everybody, like pet peeves and stuff like that, everybody just got along. And then, it went from there. Great team.
Word. That's all I got, but unless you guys have.
No, I think that's it. We'll wrap it up here. Thanks, Damien, for coming on. We appreciate it. And we'll see you pretty soon, I hope.
Yes, sir.
All right, that was Damien Williams, Saint
Wow.
Anslem College outside linebacker. A lot of good things to say. Mike Tyson Jr., Hoodie Dams himself.
Great guy.
What was your impressions of Damien Williams?
I know a lot of St.
He was
Anslem
a funny
players,
guy.
so he knows some of my friends. So he's a Boston Big Three. He's up in the rafters now. He is
Gotta hang him
immortalized in
up.
the show with Ty Law. Yeah, he's among the names of Ty Law, Gino Grisham, Alex Brandy, and now we got Damien Williams.
Damien
Yeah, can we
Williams.
Up in
talk
the
about
rafters.
that name real quick? Because this is not to be like disrespectful at all, but that sounds like a porn star name. That doesn't even sound like a real person name. That sounds like
Damien Williams.
Alex Brandy.
I was like, what do you mean? No, yeah.
Damien Williams is like a real NFL player name, though.
Yeah, it is.
That's what I
Why would I talk about Damien like that? What are you talking about, dude? Why would I be saying that?
You never know.
Jesus.
It's
All
what?
right.
Day 14 of quarantine. This stinks.
Yeah,
Like,
this
we
is
had no
horrendous.
topics
Brutal.
going in, and so we're all kind of just at the point where we lost our minds.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
you know what the
basically.
date is today?
The only thing
Yeah.
I'm looking
3
forward to now is the draft, which is the 23rd of April. Shout out my mock draft dropping April 2nd.
Joe, what exactly goes into making a mock draft?
That's a good question. So basically, the number one priority as an analyst for mock draft stuff is you want to just predict where a team is thinking. It's more important about selecting the actual guy their teams are going to pick in April. It's more about giving the fans a sense of direction of what their team is trying to do on draft day. Because obviously, when the draft goes down, a million different moving parts start to take into shape. It never goes the way you think it's going to go. That's the number one thing I've learned since covering it, since 2015, I think. I think I made my first mock draft in 2015. I was 14 years old. So, and on draft day, things change at a alarming rate. There's always the surprise picks. You always have those guys you never thought would go in the first round. You always have those guys who slipped down even to the second and third round that had first round grades on your board. So it's always interesting to see how that fluctuates and stuff. But at the same time, the Patriots are in an interesting situation at 23. I hear a lot of rumors and stuff about the Patriots trading down, and that makes a lot of sense. Bill Belichick is known for wanting to make those draft day deals where they get more picks in the middle rounds, and it makes sense because he has a bad track record at picking in some of these higher rounds. A lot of the value guys we've gotten for our last 3 championships were picked in those middle rounds. Obviously excluding Dante Hightower and guys of those stature, but a lot of the guys who have contributed either we traded for or drafted in the 4th to 6th rounds. So we're not typically a great top of the draft team. So that explains a lot why we keep hearing those rumors. However, we have significant needs going into this draft. We had a terrible free agency. I don't think anyone could pretend that we had a good free agency. It was horrendous.
It was
we
bad.
lost almost everybody, and we signed a 5'9" Demiri Bird who doesn't play in the slot. So what the hell is the point of him being 5'9" for? You signed 2 fullbacks, which doesn't make any sense. Why would you even waste a cap room for that? You cut your kicker. You lost Kyle Van Noy. You lost Jamie Collins. You lost Deron Harmon. You lost Nate Ebner. You lost Ted Karras. You lost Tom Brady.
I was going to say, at least we still have a quarterback. Apparently, Tom Brady's not on the Patriots anymore. That's what people keep telling me.
Yeah, I guess so. And it's not over yet, I don't think. I could potentially see Julian Edelman being either cut or traded before the season begins as the 2020 season kicks off. I just wouldn't be surprised. This is what Belichick's known for.
Give me a percentage of the likelihood you think that it'll happen.
I'd say right now 30%. But as we get closer to draft
time,
is it
growing?
I would say it's growing because if we take another receiver, if we take a receiver in the top 4 rounds and he's like a value guy, I think Edelman's probably gone. And I say that only because, one, cap, and two, he has absolutely zero rapport with Jared Stidham. Zero.
Mm-hmm.
And he's 34. There's no point keeping him around for just another season and a half, 2 seasons, when he clearly, first of all, has loyalty to Tom Brady above the New England Patriots. He liked a tweet by Deion Sanders saying that he belongs in Tampa Bay with his butt buddy Tom Brady. So that makes a lot of sense for him to be traded to Tampa Bay, or if he is cut, to sign with Tampa Bay. Bruce Arians is on record saying Antonio Brown will not be part of that locker room in any, facet. So it makes a lot of sense for them to get a slot guy like Edelman, especially when they have guys like Godwin and Evans who are downfield threats. That's not a Tom Brady offense, which is another reason why I think he might be the reason why they're not successful next year. But that's it. That'll come up during the season.
Yeah.
Season's canceled. It's not coming up. There's no NFL next year.
No, there'll be an
This
NFL.
is Tom Brady started coronavirus. Ready? Tom Brady started corona so he can go get the guaranteed money in Tampa Bay and still not have to play a single game for him. Like, technically, he was a Buck. He's not going to play a single game for the Bucks, and if he does,
Just like
next
Mookie
year.
Betts.
So he can go get the money he wants. He'll be a forever Patriot. It's just a long con by Mr. Tom, and I'm on to him.
No, I definitely think the season will still happen. I don't know if it'll be delayed. I know a lot of GMs wanted the draft delayed. They wanted to push it back a little bit because they couldn't have in face-to-face meetings with some of these prospects after the combine because of the corona outbreak. But
And you still have to pay him.
you still have to
As soon as
pay
you
them.
get drafted, you get paid.
Yeah, well, obviously it's not a high cap number because it's there's a limit of how much you
Yeah,
get.
but I'm saying I think they want to hold as much money as they can. How many draft? There's 7 rounds, 32 people. Obviously, like the 7th round pick gets paid like $20 an hour.
250.
Yeah.
But like this is money that people had to save. The NBA kind of just did this by cutting back wages against everybody by 20%. Also, wait. Speaking of this, what's this guy's name? This clown that runs the Garden, Josh Jacobs, or something like that. Jeremy Jacobs. Moron.
Oh,
Why aren't
I've
you
seen this,
helping out
yeah.
your
Idiot.
people?
Such an idiot. That $1 million that he's making a big deal about on like Instagram, he put it into a fund, and the only way that $1 million gets like put into like the ushers or like concessions, like pay cuts, is like if we don't play the final 6 games. But then even if we don't play it, he's just gonna take it back. He's not doing anything, and people are making like a big deal about how he's donating. He has $3.3 billion, and he's like donating $1 million.
I feel like this has been a common trend, especially with the entire reason we traded David Price and Mookie Betts. And then I think a few episodes ago we talked about was it the Mark Cuban doing something wrong? Mark Cuban was involved with something with the money, and I don't even know.
No,
Paying
Mark
the
Cuban's
wages.
going up to bat for everybody. Mark Cuban
Okay.
keeps freaking out at all these people. He's the only one that's like, pay your people. He's going on all these interviews. He had this good article I actually wrote that I didn't write. I actually read a couple days ago saying how you need to, like, you guys have all the money in the world. You're not helping anyone. Like, he was the first NBA exec to say, I'm going to donate X amount of money. You see all these people. You see Joel Embiid donating $500,000 after the 76ers said, we're not going to pay him. Then they got cyberbullied into paying him.
Yeah.
Jeremy Jacobs is standing his ground, though. And
It's not a good look.
Boston is not a cheap place to live compared to other places in the world. City-wise, it's one of the cheap, like not cheap, but compared to other cities like New York City, all that stuff, it's a little cheaper. But still, like you have to pay these people. It's simple as that.
Yeah.
Everybody's not working. I got laid off from a part-time job, so I'm just out here not making $175 every other week. So that stinks for me. But imagine the people that have to live off of their job and live off of having to figure out what to do next, what's the next step, and you're not going to help them out at all, and you have all the money in the world. That's stupid, right?
Hot take: Mark Cuban's full of shit.
I think we've said that on the show before.
Yeah, no, I remember when Kobe died. He was like the first, like, we're
Right.
retiring 24. He's like the Jackie Robinson of basketball. No, that's just full of shit. That's a PR move. That's ridiculous. That's had nothing to do with honoring
But
Kobe's
he's had good PR the last few weeks.
I see right through it though.
Yeah.
I
just don't buy
genuinely think Mark Cuban's. I think when he was younger, he went on Part of My Take and kind of described this. But this is actually like similar to what I thought of him. He kind of just like reaffirmed when he was younger. He was just a young kid with money, all the money in the world, who's just good at what he did. So he acted like he was better than everyone else. And then the classic, like you'll see this with bats. When you have kids, you obviously change. I'm assuming. And I think like when he more saw how his family life is being affected, this is what he was talking about in that article too, saying like, yeah, like knowing how many families and how all this stuff is getting affected, I want to help. And then I don't know. I think Mark Cuban genuinely means well. He can do all the good PR moves he wants right now, but that's winning people over. Clearly not Joe right now, but like he's gaining more supporters than he used to. Shark Tank's going through the roof because everybody just sits around and watches TV. So he's still getting those royalty checks. He has no worry for money. He hasn't had worry for money in a while. I think now he's like you said, the good PR. How can I, if you want to go into sports, like how do I make my legacy better? How do I myself look better? And then how that just correlates with helping people. So it's a win-win. If he wants to do all the good PR moves in the world, go for it. He's helping people. With the Kobe thing, obviously that was before the whole Corona thing broke out. But I don't know. I'm on Cuban's side.
Do you believe that Kobe was the glue holding the world together?
I don't know, man. I think it was Juice WRLD.
Juice WRLD, combo of both.
Taco Bell, Penn State.
Both.
Ever since Taco Bell shut down at Penn State, nothing's been happening.
Nothing's been the same.
That's
all right,
true.
I have an interesting topic for you guys. So with the lack of sports that have been on our TVs the last few days, there have been a few reruns of some of the more memorable Boston championships. The three that come to mind the most, or at least that were on air in the last few hours, were the 2004 Red Sox, the 2008 Boston Celtics, and the 2015-2016 New England Patriots, who also came back from a deficit of down 28-3 with happy 328 day.
March 28th.
Exactly. Does one of those championships stand out above the rest of you guys, or do you have a favorite one of those three?
Probably the Celtics, but yeah, Jake, you can go first.
Yeah, I was gonna say Celtics because I'm a huge I think between everything else, Celtics are my number one. So I mean, when the Celtics win, I'm on cloud nine. So I watched that last night at NBC. That was pretty cool. I think tomorrow they got the '86 Chicago Bulls when Jordan had 65 at the Garden. So that's gonna be good too.
Wait,
so
Jake,
there's so many good
you in 08?
How old was I in 08? I was born in December of 2002, so that would make me 5, I think.
There we
5.5.
5,
yeah.
6.
So wait,
like
did you go back and watch these games before? I'm assuming.
Yeah, well, I remember the 2008 run. I remember the finals in 2008. I remember 2010.
Yeah.
I went to my first Celtics.
Right there.
There it is.
Yeah.
I went to my first Celtics game in December of 2008. It was actually D Rose's rookie year. I saw D Rose play rookie year, so I didn't know at the time. But I remember looking back on it now. I'm like, I literally saw D Rose play rookie year, and I had no idea that was him.
Yeah, I'm kind of siding with you on the Celtics. One's my favorite one, simply because the Patriots won a lot, and the Red Sox won a lot. And the Celtics, basketball's my favorite sport. Celtics are my favorite team of Boston. So I'm just like, hey, like we said before the show, yesterday before I even knew that NBC was streaming the Game 6, I just threw it on in the morning. I was like, wow, I wish we could just have sports back again and just have his team back again. Kevin Garnett, single most favorite basketball player of all time.
Yep.
I think he's unreal.
He's electric.
Jersey, I'm a huge KG fan. And I saw a tweet today saying someone said oh, it's a travesty that Kevin Garnett and Marcus Smart can never play together.
Oh,
and if you want
could you imagine?
Stop Corona and just hold Corona up to a locker and shake out his pockets and then just uppercut him, that's KG or Marcus Smart. We should just enlist him in the troops.
#, Team Grit.
Yeah. KG totally would. If KG was still in the league today, he totally would have been one of those guys who ended up with Corona just because of how gritty and how up close and personal he was with everybody.
When people were talking about the 08 team, they obviously go to Big Three, Rondo, Perk. But that bench was probably one of the most underrated benches of all time. Not a lot of huge names, not a lot of 6th man of the year names and stuff like that. But you usually had guys that were superstars at their role. You had James Posey, 3-and-D guy. You had Leon Poe coming in for Perk. You have Eddie House. You have Tony Allen, PJ Brown, Sam Cassell. All those guys. This is what kind of the Bucks are doing. They're not going for all these all-stars or anything. They're not going to go find the best players available. They just need to find people who are superstars at their role. And that's exactly what that 08 Celtics team did. They just happen to have superstars in the starting lineup as well. But
I just wish they could have done it 2 years later.
That entire team.
James Posey might have been the best player one of the best players on that Celtics team, or key players, I guess, because there are so many times when Paul Pierce, because I went back and watched interviews of Paul Pierce from like reflecting on the 2008 championship, and he used to say that there'd be times when he would be exhausted guarding Kobe, LeBron on both sides of the ball, trying to do like everything, and he would tell Posey like, go guard Kobe for like 4 or 5 minutes, and he would do it and like do good at it. Like there's not a lot of players like role players like that could just go guard like the best player on the other team.
Just go guard Kobe. No big deal.
This was also Rondo's second year in the league. And I was watching about.
Rondo was young.
Coincidentally enough, like I just said, like they just played at the same time. I was on Game 6, but every single day for the past like 3 days, 4 days, I just threw on Game 1, Game 2, Game 3. So I just got up to Game 6 by the time. But watching Rondo in the finals, he was what, 2 years in the league, and he would get like a ton of steals a game. He was like in the Game 6, he had 6 steals, and he literally pickpocketed Kobe twice. So I don't think Rondo gets the credit that he really deserves. I think he should be a Hall of Famer. He hasn't really won anything other than maybe a couple. I think there's 2 All-NBA teams, a couple All-Stars, a ring, but no like accolades. Mm-hmm. Everyone gets to the Basketball Hall of Fame though. He also went to Kentucky, which plays a lot into like, oh, where did you go to school? Even if you didn't win anything,
because it's like a
Kentucky.
basketball.
He was a good
Hall of Fame.
That's a good basketball school. If Rondo doesn't get a Hall of Fame, and all these other clowns do, I'm going to be pretty upset.
We riot.
I'd want Rondo today. I could take Rondo over Wanamaker any single day of the week.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Well, obviously, that's not why are we having this conversation?
Because they were both free
versus
agents.
Rajon Rondo.
Because they were both free agents, and the Celtics said they didn't want Rondo. They went ahead and got Wanamaker.
Oh, I thought you were comparing them to their primes. I was like, what are we talking about right now?
I'm saying I only think Rondo right now over Wanamaker.
Oh yeah, I do that too.
My thing with Rondo is that he was like very good in like early on, but then towards the end, I feel like he started to like get a little bit ahead of himself, and like the attitude kind of set in a little bit with it, where it's like, I already won a ring, like I can do it. I'm like the guy to do it. I'm better than Ray Allen, and he tried to insert himself into that big three, and it just caused this like kind of like bad chemistry between him and Ray. I think like that was a huge thing that sent Ray gone, and ultimately ended up destroying like.
That's what I'm saying.
But that's what I'm saying. He kind of got like that's my thing with him. He got ahead of himself. He thought better of himself to a point.
Well, we won that Game 6 in 2008. You fast forward 2 years, the very same day, June 17th, 2010, and Rondo took those 2 threes at the end of the game that were just like, they're end of the game. You got to get a bucket, but you got Ray Allen on your team. Just find him.
Yeah, that's what I love about Rondo, though. He's
just take the
sassiest diva in the entire league, and it's awesome. He doesn't care about anyone other than Rajon Rondo. And I think that's just the funniest part. And there's a lot of people who out there obviously just think about themselves in the league, but nobody makes it more apparent and makes it just funnier than Rajon Rondo does. Yeah. I would take him back and literally, like I just said, in an absolute heartbeat. Like he's still unreal at basketball. He just doesn't try until he needs to. Like the random like game that the one time the Lakers aren't on national TVs, the game Rondo pops off because like, dude, I don't really care. Time Rondo to play.
Pops for
we would have lost. People forget the Celtics would have lost in 2015, 2017 or something like that. The IT year.
Oh
yeah. We were the ones
in the first round.
Because the Celtics went down 2-0 and Rondo breaks his thumb. He's out for series. Rondo was cooking the first 2 games. We would have been out of there in the first round to an 18 Bulls.
That was the weirdest Bulls team ever.
Yeah, no, it was.
D Wade was there.
Playoff Rondo's a real thing.
No, national TV Rondo's a thing. Anytime that guy's on primetime TV, he falls out. He just doesn't give a shit when he's on local television. Like he really does not. One more topic. I gotta talk to you guys about this. So Floyd Mayweather was getting interviewed in Vegas. I don't know when, but apparently it's coming out now. And the quote, they asked him about Antonio Brown and the whole Antonio Brown situation and how everything went down. And he said, and I quote, "They need to stop worrying about what you do on the outside. You can get arrested 40 times, 50 times. Does that have something to do with you catching the ball on the field?"
I mean, if you're in jail, you can't catch balls.
This dude has legitimate
CTE.
CTE.
He could.
Yeah.
Has legitimate CTE.
Yeah, AB. Oh my god, AB was on, I think, Instagram Live yesterday with Floyd Mayweather.
Yeah, no, I think they're boys, but like it doesn't make any sense. Like that's just the most idiotic comment I've heard from a professional athlete in a while. Like since like Colin Kaepernick starts talking, this has been like it's been like that long.
Flat Earth. That guy is on a whole nother thing.
Do you think AB gets signed to a team this year, or do you think he could potentially get blackballed like Kaepernick.
Well,
No,
if the
I
league
just
was
think at the
coming
end of the
back-
day, he's too talented not to get signed.
Yeah.
Like this dude's like the number one receiver in the NFL. Like
I
he
don't
has
think
to
he
get
gets
signed.
signed though. I don't think he gets signed until there's like definitive proof that the NFL season's
Right.
happening. Why would you want to put this guy on your payroll?
yeah.
He's going to ask for a ton of money. So I think for Antonio Brown, he should be the most worried about coronavirus because that's what's keeping him
Right.
away from a job right now.
Yeah, but there are some scary like pairings that could end up happening if Antonio Brown does make a return to football. The most scary being New Orleans. He joins Emmanuel Sanders and Michael Thomas in New Orleans with Alvin
And that
Kamara and Drew
potentially
Brees.
could happen.
And it potentially could happen because they don't have a third receiver to fill that role. And Antonio Brown's the best route
How
runner.
much cap
ever.
space did the Bucks got?
They have a lot, but Bruce Arians doesn't like Antonio Brown at all.
Yeah, but
I
Tom
love
Brady
that.
did. But Tom
No,
Brady
but
did. So
Did you see the comment that he released about it though? I was talking about it earlier.
what?
I think he
He
was his
said-
coach with
He
Steelers.
said Antonio Brown will not be part of this locker room in any facet.
Oh,
any
yeah.
capacity.
That.
So I just don't think it's going to happen.
I bet Brady says something. If I'm betting that he goes to the Bucks simply because of Tom
don't
Brady.
think so.
Like, yeah, but Bruce Arians, respected coach, all that stuff. But you obviously signed Tom Brady. You put all your chips in the pot, and if Tom Brady wants one of the, like we just said, the best receivers, you put your differences
That's
aside with that guy. You deal
Hold
with
on.
it. Tom knows how to. Tom literally had 20 years in the most tight knit PR organization, media organization in all of sports at the Patriots. If he can't carry that and get into Antonio Brown's head, it's like, dude, you blew it the first time. Don't do it again and stuff like that. And really just lay into him. It's like, you don't know if you're going to have a second shot in this league again.
If I was a gambling man, and I am a gambling man, I would put a lot of money. I might sprinkle some money on Antonio Brown's landing spot to be New Orleans because of all the reasons that Joe said. And he's had that visit. He's had that visit and a workout with him before. I don't see why not.
I mean, if you're Sean Payton, well, once you get over Corona, probably
Right.
You obviously
good.
just go into
He's
it.
healthy.
Yeah, he's fine. He's fine. No, but you just go into it. Drew Brees' last season is probably this year. It has to be this year or next year. He's not in the shape that Tom Brady's in.
Didn't he
clear.
sign a 2-year extension? So if you
He signed
retire,
a 1-year extension.
I thought it was 250.
I'm pretty sure it was 1-year extension. Maybe 2. I don't really know. But regardless, you can see the shit. Like Drew Brees is a pure passer, accurate passer, and he hasn't like showed any signs of slowing down. But the fact he waited so long to sign an extension in the first place, he was contemplating retirement. Like he's getting older. He has 3 sons at home and a daughter. He has a wife. He understands that football can't last forever. And he's not as crazy as Tom Brady. Tom Brady's psychotic. I don't think people realize how crazy Tom Brady is, like how driven this dude is. Drew Brees doesn't have that same fire. Yes, Drew Brees is a competitor and he's a great football player.
And he got all the
Brady is
accolades.
just psychotic. He's like a different beast, the same animal, but a different beast.
Oh, yeah. So it was a 2-year, $50 million.
I think my favorite
23 million signing bonus.
My favorite thing about Drew Brees right now is literally every time he throws a football now, it could be an incomplete pass, it could be a touchdown. There's one of those Hall of Fame guys in those fancy white gloves taking every single football he throws now and putting it in the Hall of Fame. It doesn't matter
seriously.
what the outcome is of the pass. If
Yeah,
Drew Brees
imagine
touched
he had to
it,
play
Hall of
outside.
Fame.
No, but for real though, if I'm Sean Payton, and if I'm Drew Brees, really, I'm just begging the Saints ownership to allow them to sign Antonio Brown.
Could you
'Cause
imagine looking over
it makes
and
too
seeing
much sense.
that trio? That'd be awesome.
That'd be crazy.
That would
Is
be
there-
unstoppable.
Is there anybody the Patriots else could get? We have 16 cents left in our cap, or is it just the team?
Like I said, unless they make other
Unless some
necessary
from the draft
moves, like
class,
I think Hightower being cut's a possibility. I don't see it happening, and I don't agree with it, but it's a possibility. I think Edelman getting cut's a possibility, or getting traded a possibility. They restructured Gilmore's contract, so they definitely won't be cutting him or trading him. A lot of these defensive guys are necessary to your team, so you really can't cut most of them. So I think we're just screwed where we are right now. We just dive full into the draft.
Do you think this is a above 500 team next year?
If we stick with Stidham and we put the necessary weapons around him, and if David Andrews returns full strength, I think we go 10-6.
David Andrews is not coming back. He's done. You don't come back from an injury like that. I know he's done.
Well, I mean, I guess
The guy like
Chris
Bosh.
Bosh thing,
Chris
right?
Bosh has, yeah, exactly. He's done. So
yeah,
don't bank on Andrews.
we'll wait and see because he already talked about early in the offseason how he's recovering very nicely. So I guess we'll have to find out.
Mm-hmm.
But
See.
regardless, we're gonna have to draft an interior lineman at some point, probably in the mid rounds. We're gonna have to take a receiver in the mid rounds too because we just don't have enough talent at the position. But I think the focus for the first round of the Patriots should be linebacker. I think we should be taking Patrick Queen out of LSU. sideline linebacker, great speed, great coverage skills, all-around leader. I think he becomes a defensive captain once McCourty leaves next season and once Hightower retires in 2 seasons. Makes too much sense. But that's just me.
Makes sense to me.
All right, Boston's big 3. Hour
Any
9
final
minutes.
thoughts? Final thoughts going around. Brandon, what's yours?
Oh shoot, man. Hey, keep me in your thoughts. I hope I don't have the Rona, but if I do, I'll pour one out for the boys.
Jake?
2008 Celtics, very good team. Everyone always underestimates Paul Pierce. Very good team. Don't sleep on him.
He's better than D Wade.
Way better than D-Wade. I have an article on that, rideawaymedia.com.
Final thought. Shout out Hoodie Dames for coming on the show. We appreciate
Yes. Thank you,
it.
Dame.
Day 14 without sports. I'm actually binge watching Love Is Blind on Netflix, and I feel so ashamed that I'm actually doing that.
See, that's one of those things you should save for a later episode and say, yeah, remember that? I watched the entire.
Yeah, Dad, what'd you do during the coronavirus? Well, I binge watched Love Is Blind, son.
All right. The world's ending. Simple as that. Sports are canceled. This is a good time to be alive.
What a
Also,
time.
if you're an artist, like I'm saying, like what a time to be alive. Why isn't anybody just dropping everything right now?
Honestly.
Why are they waiting for the summer? Like I'm waiting for What a Time to Be Alive 2 since What a Time to Be Alive 1 came out. That's like I have a list of my favorite albums of all time.
I need new J. Cole.
That's my final thought.
There was new Childish Gambino that was really weird.
I didn't listen to
He's
that.
a weird dude anyway.
It was really weird. It was like elevator music with lyrics.
All right, so I have like 13 different albums.
I saw J. Cole on there.
J. Cole 2014 Forest Hill Drive is the single greatest album of all time.
So good.
So good.
I listen
not
to
a
it
bad
probably
song.
once every like 4 days because all I do now is play GTA, do this show, do this class, and do this on the entire time.